morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today, we need to be taking a look at Dubwool V. That's right, Dubwool's getting a V. How cool is that? Kinda cool. Is it any good? Yes. It's actually really quite good. Let's have a gander, shall we? So, starting off then, if we have a little bit of a look at the basics, we've got 210 HP, which is... it's alright for a Pokemon V. It's on the higher end, although we're still lower than stuff like Zacian and Zamazenta, so don't get too excited. Retreat cost of 2 is kind of awkward, but we do have Balloon, so it could be worse. Weakness to fighting. There's a lot of fighting weak stuff around at the moment. More Pico V, Silvally GX, Pikachu and Zekrom. Seems like every couple of days we're finding a new really good fighting weak Pokemon, and to be honest, with both Lightning and Colourless taking on that weakness, it's always going to be an awkward one. Hey-ho. So, what else do we see? It's a Colourless Pokemon, that's not good. It's not good. No extra tricks, no extra bonuses, no extra hitting for weakness, nothing. Just a bit disappointing. Boo! Never mind. Right. What does it do? Well, our translation comes from the lovely Joe over at Cerebi.net. And according to the lovely Joe over at Cerebi.net, the ability is exactly the one we would expect a Dubwool card to have. This Pokemon receives 30 less damage from attacks. Yeah, it's that one. It's a kind of ability that I was using way back on Donphan in the Heart Gold Soul Silver era. Though I will say, that took 20 less. This takes 30 less. I mean, look, the thing is, it's actually really good. It means that instead of having 210 HP, you've basically got 240. Unless we find a way to turn off Pokemon V abilities, as it stands at the moment, there is one way. It's slacking. That's it. We got plenty of ways to turn off abilities of EXs and GXs. Think Power Plant. Think the Mimikyu or one of the Mimikyu from Cosmic Eclipse. But turning off Pokemon G abilities we don't have right now. So that means that your opponent really has to do 240 to get a one-hit KO. Now, my boy Excadrill's still doing enough damage. And that Buzzwole that a lot of people really like playing is still doing enough damage. Because 120 with weakness. But it's still a decent amount of HP. It's a decent amount of bulk. My biggest issue with this really is... I want it to be a metal Pokemon. Or have a higher retreat. Because if we had a higher retreat, we could use buff padding. That would be awesome. If it was a metal Pokemon, we could use metal frying pan or metal goggles to take less damage from attacks. We could use metal core barrier to take a little bit less damage. That would be quite lovely. We could use Lucario and Melmetal to reduce the amount of damage that we were taking. We'd be able to tank really well, and taking that natural tanking from Dubwool and adding it into all this metal stuff would be awesome. Being not a metal Pokemon, you don't have a retreat cost of 4. A little while ago, we actually got Stage 1 evolutions like Flareon that came around in Ancient Origin that actually changed the typing of Stage 1 Pokemon. So if at any point we get some kind of weird card that can make Dubwool into a metal Pokemon, yes! As it stands at the moment, let's say a little bit less so. Still nice. Still gives you more HP than Zamazenta, effectively, which is the highest we've got so far, until Zamazenta, that is a metal Pokemon, starts using all of those extra tricks. It means that if your opponent is trying to chip away and do little damage, nothing will happen. And remember, if they're not one-hit KOing, then your effective HP goes up to 270. Because they've got to do an extra 30 both hits. So it's a decent little attack, and it's nice. We've seen it on a bunch of Pokemon in the past, but it's not a reason to play the card. A reason to play the card, free Colourless Energy, 120 damage, plus 30 more for each prize card you have taken. This is a reason to play the card. If your opponent's taken 5 prizes, you do 270. And 270 is the number. 270 is a one-hit KO on a Reshiram and Charizard. It's a one-hit KO on a Mewtwo and Mew. It is a one-hit KO on any Pokemon V. It is not a one-hit KO on Pokemon V Max. The weakest Pokemon V Max are things like Morpeko V Max, sitting there with 300, and you're not getting them. Now, the translation we have is 30 more for each prize card your opponent has taken. So you can, if you want to get and I don't think it's necessarily advisable, but if you want to get super tricksy, you can use the GX attacks of either Circuitry or Naganadel to give your opponent an extra prize card. Then when they've got one prize card remaining, they've actually taken 6. And then you won't be doing 270, you'll actually be doing 300. And that's kind of cool. Again, it's awkward to actually get using, and I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend it. I'm just saying that with the wording we've got, that is an option. Force your opponent to take an extra prize, and then you get to do an extra 30 damage. And this is begging for a reset stamp combo. This is begging for, oh, you've taken 5 prizes, I'm going to pop a reset stamp down, put you down to a 1-card hand, and then just make my last stand. And this is a last stand Pokemon. As a last stand Pokemon, it's great. Like I said, the ability generally is fine, but when it's, you've got to KO this to win the game, I've got a 210 HP, I take 30 less from attacks, and I'm hitting for 270, and you've got a 1-card hand, that is how we make a comeback. As a comeback card, Dubwool V is phenomenal. The ability is fine, generally. But it is one of the best abilities you can get for a Pokemon like this. For a Pokemon like this, you just want as much bulk as you can while you sit there, and honestly, 2 or 3 attacks maximum should close out the game at this stage. The biggest issue is energy, because you're not an evolved Pokemon, so you can't use triple acceleration energy, and you are a Pokemon V, so you can't use twin energy, which means you've actually got to do it the old school way. But we got Welder, so it's not really going that old school. Use Welder to attach 2 energy, attach a 3rd for your turn, boom, you're done. Or pop it in a Malamar deck and accelerate a couple energy with Malamar and attach for the turn, or even just accelerate 3 with Malamar. Or put it in a Magnezone deck. Maybe someone's playing Magnezone. My point here is we've got plenty of options. Put it in a Frostmoth deck. Although remember, Frostmoth only allows you to attach to benched water Pokemon. So you will, if you go the Frostmoth route, need to pop in a Quagsire as well. It's not the end of the world, you can do it. But please bear in mind you would have to use a Frostmoth with a Quagsire. And this is the hook of Dubwool. This is why Dubwool is good. It doesn't need to be an every game Pokemon. It doesn't need to be a Pokemon that you bring out every game and is a center to all of your strategies. Not at all. It can be as simple as you put it as a one-of in your deck, and when you're ready, when it's the right time, you drop it down and go nuts. In the earlier game, it's just not as good. You know, your opponent's taking 2 prizes, you hit 180 for 3 colorless energy is fine, but we've got other Pokemon that can do that. I mean, if you're in a fire deck, you could do that, or you could put 4 energy on a Reshiram and Charizard and hit 230, which is more damage. If you're in a lightning deck, you can put 3 energy on a Tapu Koko V and hit 200. But it doesn't have to be when your opponent's taking 5 prizes. Let's say your opponent's taken 4 prizes. Well, 4 times 30 is 120. Add to 120 base is 240, and then you've got a KO on something like a Zacian V, which is a very good Pokemon that's going to see a lot of play. When I say this is a phenomenal comeback card, I don't mean you have to wait until your opponent has 1 prize remaining. I mean that you wait until it's getting later on in the game, when your opponent's taken a few prizes, and then you go. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. And I do think it's great for that. I don't think anyone's going to be using Dubwool in some kind of this is the deck, this is the only thing that I'm playing scenario. But I do think that people are going to be using this as a one-off in a whole bunch of different decks, basically any deck that can accelerate energy, knowing that when it gets late in the game, they're going to have a really good option for making comebacks. And for that reason, I'm giving Dubwool 4 Wassies. I do think it is a really good card. I do think it's going to see a fair amount of play. I mean, it reminds me very much of the old Shaman EX, and that saw a bunch of play. There we go. I like this. But I'd like to know if you like it, so let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. In fact, it's got the exact same attack as that Shaman EX. Like, the exact same attack. How weird is that? Although it's for an easier to pay attack cost because of the whole weldery stuff, and you've got almost double the HP. Huh. I was going to mention Shaman at the end quickly. I didn't realise it was the same attack. Hey ho. Tell me what you think about it. Go nuts in the comment section. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WazzyPlays, where we talk about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are still very much awesome. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourself till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.